Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy here, and I'm back with some more Truth and Fact Sports Talk. Shout out to the movement. Everybody's moving with us. Shout out to Three Kings Boxing and all of our affiliates. As a matter of fact, this interview is being brought to you by Three Kings Boxing. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm joined by the undefeated amateur standout, 2012 world champion silver medalist, Miss Raquel Miller. How you doing?
Yo, what's up? Pretty Beast is in the building. How you doing?
That's what's up. Now, you know what? Let's start with that. How did you get the name Pretty Beast? Is because that, what's that old saying? You got the face of an angel, but you fight like the devil?
I like that saying. I think I might use that. No, truthfully, Pretty Beast started as a joke. We used to be joking around and laughing at the gym because, initially when I walked into the gym, the guys took me lightly. They thought that I just came into the gym to try to like on some of them or some nonsense like that. And so once we started sparring, I bust somebody's nose. And they was like, she's a little bit of a beast. And it just kind of like stuck from there. They just like, it was a nickname. We just all thought it was kind of funny. They used to call me the Pretty Beast. And it just actually kind of kept growing. And then it just became a lifestyle. Like, you know what I'm saying? You can be pretty, you can do your thing, and you get in the ring or any sport or whatever you do, and you beast at it. And that's the kind of meaning behind Pretty Beast and where it came from.
Okay. Now, for all the fellas out there that's listening, what she basically saying is, get out of line and you can get it. That's what she's saying.
You know?
That's what she's saying. So get out of line. She's saying, don't you judge this book by its cover. Okay.
That's too funny, but nah, I don't want no smoke with these dudes. I'm gonna just leave their ass where they stand. I don't want no smoke.
Speaking of,
get right or get left. I ain't gonna play.
And it's funny because I think that name fits because your very first professional fight, I think it was a woman by the name of Sada Flores. You got a TKO, and one of the things that I noticed was from that fight to I think you fought a woman by the name of Lisa Noel Garland, okay? Mm-hmm. From that fight up until Lisa Noel Garland, I think you had I think you had maybe one fight after that. There's a certain type of aggression that I'm seeing in the way that you fight, and you're doing better things with your footwork and everything. But the one thing that I've noticed in all of your fights I watch, you work behind that jab, and that is very good. Where did you learn that from? Like, what fighter did you watch? Because George Foreman used to always say a fight is easy when you use the jab. So what fighter did you watch to where you make sure everything you do is built off that jab?
First, Andre Ward is somebody that I definitely look up to a lot, especially him being a hometown fighter. And, actually I'm left-handed. A lot of people don't know that, but I'm actually left-handed. And I fight as an orthodox fighter. So, my jab is definitely strong, and my coach harps on it all the time. Literally, like we do rounds and rounds of just jabs. So it's just always been like an important punch, and my coach has kind of like drilled it into me. And I've always watched how Andre Ward can pretty much win a fight, dictate the distance, the range, all with the jab. So I really like that punch a lot. It's a strong punch for me, and sometimes I get too aggressive, but when I get back to my, thinking while I'm boxing, my jab is always on point. Okay.
Now, because you said you used to be left-handed, but you fight orthodox, but you have some power in your right hand too, because when you fought Lisa Noel Garland, it's almost like she made you mad. I thought she pissed you off because you hit her with a right hand.
She did.
Okay. Well, yeah, because the way you hit her with that right hand, you hit her like, I'm tired of you. You got to go.
She had me twisted. But I do got power in both. I mean, we've definitely worked to develop power in both hands, and you got to be explosive in both of your hands. So, I'm definitely working in the gym, working on both hands at all times. And Garland, she was tripping. I wanted that smoke. She was tripping. She just was like hard to deal with and hard to work with, to be honest. And it was just like we kept fighting about like the weight, and she was just giving me a hard time. And then she was like trash talking, and I just wanted that smoke.
Okay, so in other words, by the time y'all got to the ring, you had already made your mind up. She ain't seeing the end of this fight.
Yeah, she had to go. She had to go pretty much. But and then on top of that, I just felt like she had to go. That's all that was. She had to go. But, then it ended kind of quickly. But the funny thing is my coach don't like for me to fight like that. So if you ever see fights from me, and sometimes I seem like I'm more reserved or I'm kind of like I took off the gas pedal, my coach is really adamant about me being able to fight in all different gears and all different levels. You know what I mean? Like you might have an aggressive fighter that you need to box, that you need to be on ankles with. You need to be able to be disciplined enough to listen to the game plan and stick to it. So some of the fights I've had, I really wanted to go for the knockout, and I felt like I could have gotten it. But my coach was like, I need you to listen to me more than I need you to knock this girl out because we're building for something else. And I need you to be able to execute. So,
well, they
learn, you grow.
They say that the more rounds you get, like people like getting more rounds because you can actually learn. You learn more when you go more rounds versus getting a quick knockout. You really don't learn anything. So I could relate to that. Because actually, when I saw your first fight with Sada Flores, and then I saw when you fought Zabatos, I noticed that that you still do things with your jab, but you have more head movement now than you did than from your first fight. And I noticed that a lot. So now you're making yourself a harder target. Is it important to you to take something from your fights and learn and work on it and make sure it's successful in the very next fight?
Absolutely. Like I feel like if you're not growing with your sport and watching and critiquing yourself, then how do you get better? You know, because sometimes I feel like I still don't think I fought to my full potential yet. I still don't think that I've really showcased who exactly and everything that I can do inside of the ring. But every time I fight, you know, I'm constantly trying to work on something. We're in the gym, we're working on certain things. And, you know, at this level of competition, it's not the highest level. So this is the time where you learn. This is a time where you know, demonstrate what you can do and what might work, what might not work, to where when you get to that next level, you're ready to roll. So definitely learning, definitely growing, going back, critiquing, and trying to, you know, correct some things and continuously develop into a pro.
Now,
a better pro, excuse me.
Oh, yeah, a better pro, because you're already a pro. Now, I normally ask this question when I start off, but I'm going to ask it now. What is it that one day you were sitting at home and you were staring in the mirror and you was looking at that pretty face on the other side of the mirror and you said, you know what, I think I want to get punched in the face. What was it that made that click for you to where you walked out and went into a gym and it's been on since then?
You know, to be honest with you, I've always been a fighter. I've always been that girl that had all of the boys that was my friends, and we used to be playing football and baseball. I played every sport that you can probably think of. I made every sports team I've ever tried out for. And, you know, I was a tomboy girl that the boys probably liked, but I thought they was my homeboys. So fighting, came natural to me. Like I never really tripped off of fighting, to be honest with you, which is always something that I did. So as I started getting older, you know, I've had street fights. I done beat up on some boys and, you know, even had some girls, we beat up some girls or whatever as a street fighter. And I just wanted to challenge myself to see if I really was bad. Like, can you really fight, or can you just do a, 20-second street fight and think that you did something? So to be honest with you, it was more so me challenging myself to see just how far I could take it and how good was I really at boxing. And my mom, to take it back a step, she loved boxing. And we grew up watching Tyson. I grew up watching Christy Martin, us surrounded by the TV, HBO, and, pay-per-view fights. So I used to get these butterflies in my stomach, and I used to think that was going to be me. So truthfully, I've always been a fighter. It's always been inside of me. So I just think, as long as I slip and move and I get her before she get me, my face going to be intact. And if I get a little cut, then you might love me a little bit more because of my character.
Okay.
And it's what it is. So that's kind of how that came about, to be honest.
Okay. Now, let's go into your amateur career. You started, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you started fighting in 2010, I think. You started fighting, was that 2010 when you started? Okay. Started fighting in 2010.
Yes, like late 2010 I started fighting, yes.
Okay, so 2010 you started fighting.
I had my first fight in December.
And then 2012, you were an alternate for the Olympic team. What was that like for you?
That was an amazing experience, to be truthful, especially considering that I was a really, a amateur fighter with not that much experience. I got to go to the World Championships. I got to go and be a part of Team USA. I got to go to the games as an alternate. And it was the first time ever that the women were allowed to fight in the games. So it was an amazing experience. I'm very thankful for it. I was thankful to have a really good, extensive amateur career. And, I've been blessed, and I continue to be blessed. So it was amazing just to be there and be a part of history.
Okay. And then you you was an alternate for the 2012 team, but you did win the silver medal in the 2012 World Championships.
Yes.
What was that like, having a medal of any kind put around your neck?
That was a very, very gratifying moment because I had only been boxing at that time for about a year and a half. And a lot of people thought that I couldn't do it and that I wouldn't be able to make Team USA and so forth. I even went to the Olympic trials as well, and I only had, I think, at the time I went, I had about 8 or 9 fights at the Olympic trials, and I still came home with a bronze medal. So for me, when I went to the World Championships, I just always tell myself I'm supposed to be here. You know, they might not know it, but I feel like I'm supposed to be here. I worked hard, I deserve it, and I'm coming to bring it. So I fought 5 fights at the World Championships. I fought, I think, like Canada, Russia, New Zealand, Ukraine, and Poland. And it was also, I was successful in 4 out of matches. I lost in the final. I think it was to Ukraine. It was a good fight. She was long and rangy, and I should have just whooped her ass like Tyson. I probably would have won. But anyway, it was just amazing to be able to be on that world stage in such a short period of time, be able to get a medal for, Team USA, and just to be able to say to myself, I told you, like I knew you could do it. And even though I didn't get the gold, it was almost better probably for me to not get the gold, because it taught me that nothing worth having comes too easy. And maybe I wouldn't have appreciated it as much if you could just kind of go and run through it, and you've only been doing it for a short period of time and then you win. Maybe it makes you think that things aren't as hard as what they might seem at times, or you might have to work a little harder. So, in retrospect, it was a good opportunity for me, and it was awesome.
Right. Now let me ask you this, before we get off into some other things. Just some I want to ask. How did your family take it when they found out you was fighting? How did they take it? I mean, because I'm a father, and I'm okay with teaching my daughter how to box. I'm okay with taking her to the gym. I do pads with her. But man, if somebody took a swing at my baby, I don't know. I just don't know. But just what was that like when your family knew, and then when they started supporting you through it?
Well, my family, I've been really blessed, to be honest, with a really supportive family. My mom doesn't like that I boxed, however. She's always calling me like, are you almost done? Are you done? She's kind of like ready for me to. She never wanted me to box. So, on one aspect, I have my mom, who is, I can understand. She's a parent. She's a mom, and she wants to protect me, and she loves me, and she's like, why, Raquel? You always been my old adventurous child. I always want to do something. How long is this going to last? But my daddy, he's like, what? Stick her in the body. Go to that liver. Make her take a knee. My daddy, he be with it. So,
yeah.
Different spectrums. Like my dad, he'll be at the gym with me. He'll go all around the world with me. He don't mind. He love me, and he gonna support me regardless. So, I have 2 parents that are different ends of the spectrum, but they understand that I tell them, like, Mom, like, I know you don't want me to box, and I promise that I'm gonna be as safe as I possibly can, but I need you to allow me to live my dream. Mm-hmm. And I think in that she understands. She still doesn't like me boxing, but she's come to the point where, she'll come to some of my fights. Sometimes she be, crying and all worked up, but then at other times, she be gangster, and she be, get her. She be screaming. So, but she understands that it's something that's near and dear to my heart, and I love it. And she's going to support me regardless. And my sister, my brothers, they all come out, my cousins, and, we be about 50, 80 deep at the fights. And that type of love you can't buy. You can't put a cap on that. And that keeps me pushing through the hard days.
Now, let me ask you this, and this is going to be brief. Do you think being in a 2-parent household, having your brother and sister, do you think that adds to your competitive nature?
Well, my parents wasn't together. They both in my life, but they weren't together. Okay. I don't know why my parents don't even divorce. They're still married, random. But anyway, we weren't in the same household. But they're both very much a part of my life, and I was a middle child. So I think that I was like, the middle child kind of get lost in the way a little. I hate to say it, but that's what I feel like. You just can kind of be like, well, they'll be really tripping off of you. So I just always did my thing. And then I would tell them, Mom, I want to try this. Like I did track and field. I did basketball. I did a photography. So they just always would support me. Mm-hmm. But sometimes I feel like they didn't really push me as much as they could have pushed me because I would have been a world champion already, truthfully. But I just felt like they had to see that I was really serious about it, and then they got on board. And, the rest worked out, and I'm really close to all of my siblings, and I have a ton of them. So, blended family, but it worked out for us, and we're all very close.
What was it like when you decided to go pro? Was that an easy decision for you to make, or was there something else in the works, or was this always something that you wanted to do, was become a professional fighter?
It actually was mixed emotions, to be truthful, because when I envisioned boxing when I was younger, it was always at a professional level. But when I found out that the girls were going to the Olympics, that became like my new goal. So not winning the Olympics was definitely, hurting. It hurt, and you just kind of had to reevaluate your career. But I just promised myself that I wouldn't allow boxing to I don't want to end boxing on terms that I'm not happy with. I'm going to end my career how I want to, and I'm not going to, if I didn't get to give me a gold medal, then I'm not going to give me a world title. So it wasn't always in the plan, to be truthful, but when I think back, it probably was always in the back of my mind, and I didn't like how my amateur career ended, so, I had to make sure it ended how I wanted to end in the pros.
Okay. Now, this is the part of the interview where we're going to get a little bit deep, as we say, and it's like this is the championship rounds, as we were saying, boxing. Okay. All right. Now, boxing.
All right, let's go.
Boxing and fighters are competitive. I don't care if you're a man or you're a woman. Competitors are competitors. They have pride, they have egos, and there's trash talking. Well, you in the middleweight division. There's Cruz, there's Maricela Cornejo, and Clarissa Shields is there, and you've exchanged some words with the two of them young ladies over Twitter.
Yes, I have. So at the end of the day, I'm not ducking none of these girls. I ain't worried about them. You know what I'm saying? It's already gonna be what it's gonna be. Franchon Cruz is one of my good friends. And eventually we might end up fighting down the road, but it's always gonna be love and respect amongst us with each other. And we understand it as a sport. Now, the Cornejo chick, we don't really care for each other. We don't see eye to eye. She was in her feelings about a statement I made in the interview, and then I kind of created that uproar. And then the Clarissa chick, I just feel like she's always been, like a little negative Nancy. She be, jealous for whatever reason when we should be worried about you. So anyways, and Clarissa and I have history from the Olympic Games in regards to me being the alternate and us having rivalries in the amateurs. So, what I'm saying? We don't see eye to eye. We're not favorite people of each other. Same thing with the Cornejo chick. I mean, I don't have no personal vendettas against anybody, but I'm looking forward to the days we get in that ring, we touch them up. I got a point to prove. I'm going for mine.
Do you think by having the rivalry, it pushes you a little bit more? Because sometimes when you have a rivalry, it will push you because you know that the person you having a rivalry with is pushing themselves as well.
Oh, it definitely pushes because, it's something that you got a point to prove. So, in some fights, it's like, okay, yeah, we about to go fight. But in some fights, it's like you done thought about this fight. You done dreamed about this moment. So when you get in that ring, it's I'm about to leave it in the ring. I'm willing to die in that ring when it comes to that fight. And I promise you, I'm leaving it in the ring, let my nuts hang. And I mean that. So, yeah, it's going down. And that's just what it is.
The funny thing is, the way you're talking, some people it's crazy because a guy can talk the way you're talking. They're like, yeah, I like that. He got confidence and all that. But a girl talk like that, they're like, oh man, why do you think that disparity is there in women's boxing? It's almost like you guys aren't supposed to talk with confidence.
I think that, truthfully, a lot of people haven't got over the notion that women want to fight. Some people, mind can't understand how you a woman. You're supposed to want to be soft and dainty and girly. Why do you want to fight? Do you think you a man? And so I just think that some people haven't really gotten to the notion that, no, I'm not a man. I'm saying? I'm all woman, but I believe in myself. I got confidence. I like to fight. I've always been athletic, and this is what I do. You know, boxing is what I do, and the woman is who I am. So what? And so I just think that as we evolve, as we grow, and when people start to look at women as just athletes, and then we stop being female boxers and male boxers, and then it just becomes we're boxers, I think that the conversation grows, and then they stop putting us in these categories, in these boxes, and let us just be.
Man, that was a very good answer. Now let me ask you something. As it stands right now, a lot of women that have the amount of fights you have, they've already fought for championships and titles and stuff like that. If any of those women come up and say, we got issue, I won't smoke, and you got titles on the line,
we can get that smoke. And I also want to touch on why. You know what I'm saying? And I'm dead serious. And you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes, and people don't really realize this, and this is something that I want to harp on. Like, a lot of people don't realize, like, a lot of my early fights, matter of fact, pretty much my first 5 fights, that was all on my own dime, on my own grind. So I didn't have a promoter behind me. So when you're reaching out to these organizations that are having these titles and these sanctioned bouts and so forth, they're not trying to give you no action. So everything that I've done so far to this point has been from the mud. So it's like, yeah, you look at the Shields and the Hammers, and they get these opportunities, and they on TV, but they got networks behind them. They got a little bit of money behind them. I'm from the mud. You know what I mean? Like, I'm pushing and I'm growing, and I fought locally, and that's how I was able to get to the next level in regards to getting signed. So it's like I just now got into a situation where, okay, now I can do some TV shows, not me seeing some TV time. Now I can go for some titles because I got a, promoter behind me that's willing to put up the money. Like, people don't realize. They be like, why you don't fight her? Why this person don't fight her? They ducking. Like, no, let's be serious. Before we fight, it's business. And if the business don't make sense, then it just don't make sense, and it's not able to materialize at that time. So, people, we think, oh, well, you got this many fights. Why you don't fight for this title? It's like, well, shit, you finna come give me 10 stacks so I can pay these sanctioning fees? Like, okay. When you put that money up, then you come talk to me. But until then, I'm getting it out the mud, and we hustling, and we trying to make it happen for ourselves, and we're trying to build to that level. So that's the reason why you haven't had the best competition yet, because they try to nickel and dime you. You know what I'm saying? Like, they offered me the Shields fight. They want to pay me $8,000. So you tell me, do I look like Boo Boo the Fool? You know what I'm saying? Cornejo offered me a fight for $1,200. Are you stupid? You know what I'm saying? Or just playing dumb. So let's be serious here. Ducking is out the way. Why would I fight him? I'm scared. These bras ain't scaring nothing out of me. You better go check my resume. Serious. It was as simple as that, and I ain't even talking boxing, but that's neither here nor there. The point of the fact of the matter is I'm a businesswoman before I'm a boxer. You see what I'm saying? Because I need to make sure that I'm making right decisions and smart decisions for my career. So you tell me why I'm going to fight one of the biggest fights of my career for a little bit where I can't even live off of that for 2 months. And you tell me that I got to, no.
That's like going on a job. That's like going on a job interview, and they tell you we got 100 things that you have to do within 8 hours. Oh yeah, by the way, we're gonna pay you $5.75 an hour.
Yeah, and you're gonna sit there and do it. Yeah, you be like, man, go somewhere.
Right.
Go get that money right, then come back and talk to me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And no, it's not all about money, but it's about longevity in your career. You know what I'm saying? So you tell me I fight all of the top girls in a short period of time for a little nickel and dime money, then what I'm supposed to do? Mm-hmm. Then what? So, sometimes you just gotta kind of like, zip your lips and keep working, because people don't understand what's really going on behind the scenes.
You know what? Speaking of that, and I'm glad you touched on that, because that's something that I'm gonna go into. Is I think a lot of times people don't understand how hard it is, especially in women's boxing. Okay, how hard it is for you guys to get the recognition, to get to that point to where you can make that kind of money, where you can make decent amount of money. And sometimes it feels like, some of these networks, they have their picks, they have their choices, who they feel is sellable and who isn't sellable. But when you're doing this on your own, the choices you make, like you said, the choices you make, they have to be beneficial to you. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense to make it. But how do you deal with how do you deal with that criticism of those people that don't understand? Is it a situation where you just have to put it out of your mind that they don't know what's happening here?
Yeah, you definitely hear the naysayers, and you hear the talk, and you want to kind of voice your opinion and say, what you talking about? Don't you understand? But a lot of people, their IQ of boxing is not that high. You know what I'm saying? If so, they don't understand what we're really going through. And then sometimes when they talk so much, I'm like, well, you could just meet me at the gym. You know what I'm saying? We can get it in, and then you know what I'm saying? You can feel how you feel. But at the end of the day, you're not walking in my shoes. You don't really understand what it's like. To whereas you're trying to have a fight, and so you're trying to pay for your medicals. Your medicals are sometimes like $500 to $1,000 that you're responsible for paying. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Let's not take in consideration that you got to pay, and so you selling tickets to these fights. You know what I'm saying? It's so much going on behind the scenes, and people don't really realize it, that you kind of say, you just take it as a grain of salt. Oh yeah, I'm scared. Oh, I'm ducking, because you already know what the real situation is. And when you know what I'm saying, when you believe in yourself and you got confidence in yourself, then it's kind of like, can't nobody tell me nothing I don't already know about myself in regards to this boxing game and how hard I'll be working. My team know me. They know my heart. People that have been in my life, they know what's up. And eventually, you know what I'm saying, the world going to see it. So all I got to do is just keep putting in the work, keep proving them wrong, keep doing my thing.
That's what's up. Now, two more questions before we close this out, because I definitely want to thank you for joining us this early on a nice afternoon in sunny California. I'm down here with this cool breeze in Chicago, but that's not beside the point. I'm not gonna get out myself here. But what more do you think needs to be done for women's boxing to get even more recognition? I mean, it's getting some, and that, I think that's a major plus. I think Cecilia Brackett was the first woman to be on an HBO card. So you're starting to see more of it, and it's getting some traction. But what more do you think can be done for women's boxing?
I think that what more can be done, in my opinion, is the networks really get behind us, and it stops being a situation for female boxing, and you start to treat us as equals to the men. And I think that was the deciding factor with the UFC women. It went from, that they have that show. People got to see who the women were and who the fighters were outside of just the sport that they do. And then also it carried over to the point where they made women headliners. They put them on the card, and it wasn't like, oh, it's women. It was just like, they're awesome. They're popular. People want to see them fight. We're going to give them that top spot. And it stopped being about gender to me as much. And then it gave ladies a more of an equal playing field to be able to make some good money, be able to, hype up and sell fights, be able to train at a very high level because you're financially not really stressed out about, how you're going to pay your bills. So when the networks get behind us, when the fans, kind of start demanding for us more and really, saying, we're going to come out and support them. We're going to put our money where our mouth is and buy tickets to these fights, then I feel like then the platform grows. And even with the women supporting each other, the platform grows. Sometimes in women's boxing, to me, there's too much personal, catty, dumb, petty stuff that doesn't make sense. Like, I don't really care for some of the girls, but at the end of the day, you winning, you excelling, you expanding your platform, it makes us all be able to rise. So I'm not about to tear down all these chicks when I get to the top level, because at the end of the day, you can't only have one superstar in a sport and expect it to flourish. So
that is so true.
It's like, you need superstars to fight superstars to make mega fights. And I swear some of the boxing chicks don't get that. And it's like, okay, dummy, if you say all of the other girls are whack and this and that, and then, well, who are you going to fight yourself? What are you talking about? So, you know what I mean? Like, people, it's like the business side of it. Women really get out their feelings and get into the bag and get into these fights and really understand that what we're doing is trying to make the sport elevate. Then I think we elevate and we grow.
Now, I got to ask you, out of all the women out there in your division, I got to know, is there somebody, I know you say anybody can get it, but is there somebody that every time you hit that heavy bag, every time you hit that speed bag, that their face is on there?
Good question. There's a couple of faces I done taped to that bag.
Okay.
And I don't personally think I want her to know that I'm extra training for your ass. So, nope, not even going to give her that energy. But you best believe I got some face to tape to that bag. You know what I'm saying? That's just making me jump up in that morning and get that run in or do that extra crunch or extra push-up, So
that's what's up.
I won't say a particular name or face, but I got a few of them that's definitely on my radar that I'm, that's keeping me pushing. And, before we go, I want to give a shout out to my little brother, Sean Simpson. He's a 2012 Olympic alternate with me. He's a really close friend of mine. He's about to get busy next weekend, and I'm excited. I'm trying to come through in Chicago and come and support him. I'm
That's
looking
what's
forward to seeing
up.
Anthony Sims, and I'm excited, and I just try to show love, and what I'm saying, just keep being positive light and energy, and what you give out, it comes back.
And that's that Chicago card, the Jesse Vargas October 6th DAZN card. Is that correct?
Yes, I do believe so.
All right. And that's the Wintrust Arena, you guys. So you guys come on down, get an autograph from Miss Raquel Miller, get an autograph. And then now you do know, though, there's probably a girl out there in the amateurs with your face on that heavy bag, too.
She should have my face on there.
There you go.
That's what she's supposed to be doing. It's a couple of girls that got my name on. That's cool too, because I'm working for your ass too. You can work for me. That's cool. That's keeping me pushing and keeping me honest. It got you. I ain't the only one out there working hard. We all working hard. We all want that top spot, and I'm saying that's what the nature of the sport is, and that's cool.
That's what's up. See, that's why I want to hear that. I like when people come on here and they show me that they got that mindset of a fighter. That's what you're supposed to have. Get on here, get cocky. Ali was telling everybody he was the greatest before he even won a title. You know what I'm saying? That's you're a fighter, man. You ain't supposed to be giving in to nobody. Shoot. So I like that attitude. That's right. I like that attitude. One more thing I definitely want to say is you seem to have paid extra attention, not just to but your footwork. You seem to get in and out very, very quickly. And I've never seen a fight that you've had where you was off balance. You always are in position to hit or move away. What are some of the training regimens? You don't have to say exactly what it is, but what are some of the training regimens that you focus on to make sure that everything is just right for you? Like from eating to resting to all of that stuff.
To be truthful, it's been a growth thing for me, because I didn't start off being balanced. I started off being a really brawling fighter who just liked to fight, and I broke my hand in one of my first amateur fights, truthfully, and that's what kind of forced me to start boxing, because I didn't want to break my hand fighting no more. So that's something that a lot of people don't know, but that's what kind of changed the nature of how I fight. And regarding like the nutrition aspect of it and the training, I've been blessed with a really good coach. His son, Bashir Abdullah, he's a 4-time Olympic coach. He actually took me to the Olympic Games as an alternate, and he was my coach at the World Championship. So I've been blessed to have really good coaching around me, and he's very big on the fundamentals. Like I said, he harps on the jab. He's always about balance, being able to mix it up, mid-range, short range. So I just think that it's the repetition of it that helps me. And, I still got room to grow, but that's something that I'm always working on. We do a lot of ladder drills. We do a lot of footwork drills. We do a lot of, hula hoop drills. We constantly drill on stuff like that often, and I think that that's why it's able to showcase more so when I fight, is because it's pretty much what my coach thinks is the key factor, being able to adjust, being able to see a style of a fighter and adjust to get that win. And in regards to nutrition, I have a nutritional team that I work with, perfecting athletes. They kind of give me an eating plan, and that helps you kind of stay consistent, gives you foods that help you be better nourished and better energized. And if you're an athlete and you don't have those type of resources when you first start, definitely get online. Get online and learn, about taking vitamins, learn about foods that help you, recover fast, or amino acids, learn about, the intake of water and how certain things really help you propel in your sport, and how rest and recovery is really important, like ice baths and, massaging and really doing the stuff that you need to do. And I'm not always as good as I need to be. I'm doing better now, but take care of yourself, take care of your body, nourish it with food, nourish it with the proper, things that you would do to recover. And I think that that'll help you in your sport more than you think, as well as staying in the game longer.
Okay. One last question. When you're training, you're dieting for weight, are you one of those dieters that's like, if you come around me with a piece of candy or a piece of cake, I'm going to hurt you? Or are you one of those, I'm dieting, I can handle it. You can eat what you want to eat?
I've been doing it so long. I think for the most part, I'd be cool. Like, I'd be like, come on, just give me a little piece, just a little quarter size something. I'd be like, come on.
No. I'm talking about no. But what I'm talking about, like, if you're dieting and people know you're dying, and they coming around with cakes. They come around with cakes and candy. You like, man, y'all, you don't get out of my face with that stuff. I'm gonna hurt you.
The only time I'm really like, bitchy, to be truthful and kind of like, you see me like, damn, you all right? Is that, the week before the fight.
Okay.
That's just like the roughest week to me. You've been in camp for a very long time. You're hungry. You cut the most weight. Besides that, I'm always goofy, laughing, joking pretty much all the time. But that last week, I'll be having to bite down and pray a little harder, like, God, help us out. But besides that, I'm cool. But that last week, please don't eat around me. Please don't breathe around me. Please just don't talk to me.
Okay, yeah, because what you're doing is, again, fellas, translation, what she's saying is, I'm in kick your ass mode. So, best stay away from me.
I'm tired. I'm tired, boss. But that's the only time. Week before the fight, I'm just like, and I'm ready to fight. So I'm kind of like extra, kind of like aggressive, snappy, I'm ready to fight.
That's what's up.
But besides that, I'll be cool.
That's what's up. Well, tell everybody where they can follow you at, find you at. And if they're there, you got another fight coming up or one you working on, let everybody know.
So thank you all so much for checking us out today, for checking in and listening to Pretty Beats Raquel Miller. You can find me on Instagram at ms.Raquel Miller. You can find me on Facebook at Raquel Miller. My nonprofit organization is ladiesempower.org because I'm more than just a boxer. Check me out. It looks like I'm going to be getting back into the ring. My next fight should be televised and might even be for a title. So, definitely keep a lookout for me. I don't have a date for the fight yet, but it's looking like the end of the year, early next year. It's go time. All
right. Well, she don't have a date now, but pay attention to Truth and Facts about Truth and Facts and Three Kings Boxing. We will be making that announcement. Okay. Raquel, before you go, I definitely want to thank you for taking this time out. I know we said it would be quick, but it just got to going. So I definitely want to thank you for that. And also, when we get a chance, let's set a date and bring you back on so we can talk about your foundation that you have. I think that's very important that people understand that, how athletes do give back to. I think a lot of athletes don't get a lot of credit for giving back. So I would love to have you back on so you can talk about that nonprofit organization. That would be great.
Thank you. And I just want to really thank you so much, Three Kings Boxing for, taking the time to love and to appreciate women boxing and giving me the platform to share my story. I really appreciate you and thank you for that, and would love to come back on the show sometime. So you let me know and we'll make it happen. All
right, ladies and gentlemen, Three King Boxing. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for tuning in for future middleweight world champion. Yeah, I said it. You got a problem? I said it. Future world champion. All right, Raquel Miller right here on Three Kings Boxing. All right, everybody, we're out.